When my mother was in a car accident and urgently needed money for medical treatment, my first love's mother suddenly changed her mind before the wedding, demanding an extra 380,000 yuan in bride price. I was humiliated, begging to get it back. She threw the bank card in my face and said coldly, "Can't your mother wait one more day before dying? Take your filthy money and get lost." Our 4-year relationship ended in complete ruin. Years later, at a friend's wedding, she was now a dazzling, world-famous actress. Our classmates looked at me with mocking eyes. Augustine used to be Camilla's biggest simp. What, not gonna keep simping now? They didn't know that after my mother's funeral, I tried to win her back, but she told me to get out of her life. Luckily, I've finally moved on. Chapter 1. I really didn't expect the glamorous movie queen herself to show up here. You're definitely the most successful one among us. You're so popular now, we thought we'd never get a chance to see you again. Aiden's one lucky guy. Today was the wedding of my best friend from school, Aiden. I watched the ceremony seriously, clapping politely from time to time. But I could feel a burning gaze behind me. From Camilla. I hadn't expected to see her here. Camilla was no longer the obscure student she once was. Just 3 days ago, she had won her second Best Actress award. Even the most respected veterans said her achievements were only beginning. No one knew she was also my first love, the woman I dated for 4 years. Someone nudged me from the side. "What's so interesting about watching a wedding?" "You and Camilla were the closest back then. Go say something to her." "Yeah, even exes can stay friends. You're acting like you're avoiding her. Don't tell me you still have feelings for Camilla. You used to be Camilla's #1 simp. Why'd you stop now?" They all treated me like a joke. Some of them were married, some were successful. They all had something to brag about. Only me, ever since my breakup with Camilla 3 years ago, had vanished from everyone's sight. I waved my hand and let them see the wedding ring on my finger. "Don't joke like that. I'm already married." Camilla's smile froze instantly. "What? You're married? Didn't hear a word about that." Once they knew I was married, they stopped teasing me. But the air grew strangely quiet, because Camilla's expression wasn't looking too good. The conversation quickly shifted elsewhere, and I faded back into the background. Only Camilla kept watching me, her gaze impossible to read. Then came the bouquet toss. The flowers arced through the air and landed right in Camilla's hands. She was the bridesmaid today. Everyone burst out laughing, surrounding her playfully. "So, Miss Movie Queen, who are you giving the bouquet to? Gotta be Sean, right?" The best actor himself. Camilla had brought someone with her, Sean, the hottest male star in the industry. However, she didn't respond. Her gaze went straight through the crowd and landed on me in the corner. It made me feel quite awkward. Chapter 2. If you had told me 3 years ago that Camilla and I would end up like this, I never would have believed you. Our story, from the first meeting to falling in love, was a stormy one. I met her on freshman orientation day. Her mother had chased her all the way to campus and slapped her hard across the face. Every kind of cruel, disgusting word was thrown at her. Words no mother should ever say to her daughter. She just stood there silently, head down, yet still breathtakingly beautiful. She was the most beautiful girl in the acting department that year, like a magnolia in full bloom, pure and luminous. But her soul looked like it was withering. I was a sophomore back then, assigned to welcome new students. Normally, I hated getting involved in trouble, but seeing her standing there, helpless and humiliated, I couldn't ignore it. So I pushed through the crowd and forced a smile. Oh, no wonder our new student is so pretty. She takes after her mother. Your daughter's the representative of the freshmen this year. We were actually hoping to interview you about how you raised such an outstanding girl. I dragged her mother away, showering her with fake compliments until she finally left. By the time I went back, the crowd had dispersed, and Camilla was gone too. The next time I saw her was in the cafeteria. I figured we at least counted as acquaintances now. But when I greeted her, she was cold as ice. When I mentioned what had happened that day, she just said flatly, "Mind your own business." I thought I'd helped an ungrateful brat. But later, my lost meal card showed up on my desk. When I forgot to eat, someone secretly ordered takeout for me. Small, warm things kept happening in my life. Things I never connected to Camilla. Until I caught a fever and took 2 days off classes and saw her message in the student group chat asking where I'd gone. That's when I realized it had been her all along. That was her way of saying thank you. Such a stubborn, awkward person. I learned to look past her cold surface and see the softness hidden in her soul. So I ignored her resistance and made myself part of her life. She was beautiful, but deeply insecure. I would go to her acting classes whenever I was free, squatting in the back corner and shouting shamelessly, "Camilla, you're gorgeous! Camilla, you're such a great actress. Are you planning to put everyone else out of work? Camilla, you're amazing!" I wanted that insecure girl to feel a bit of confidence. That was probably when I became famous across campus as Camilla's most loyal simp. After we started dating, things were good between us for a long time. But cracks began to form, partly because of Sean. Sean was in the same year as Camilla, and he was her obsessive pursuer. Still, the real problem wasn't Sean. It was her mother. Her mother never liked me. When Camilla was a sophomore, she brought me home to meet her family. The first thing her mother said when she saw me was, "How could my daughter possibly like a broke guy like you? My daughter's so beautiful. She should marry a CEO or a rich heir and become a lady of wealth." But what hurt me most was Camilla's silence. Once the banquet started, everyone was drinking and laughing noisily. Before long, most of them were already drunk. Their courage grew with the alcohol, and eventually the topic turned to me. "Augustine, you said you're married. For real?" "Hard to believe, man. You used to be crazy about Camilla. Don't tell me you just made that up to save face in front of us." "No need for that, bro. We're all friends here," I said calmly. "I really did get married." They didn't buy it. "Then call your wife. Let's meet her." I hesitated for a moment, then replied, "She's not really available right now." They laughed, their eyes glinting with obvious mockery. Even Camilla's icy face softened a little. She seemed in a slightly better mood, raising her glass to take a sip. I knew none of them believed me, and the thought left me a bit frustrated. An hour later, I got up to use the restroom. When I came out and turned the corner, I saw Camilla standing at the door. She was leaning against the wall with her arms crossed, holding a bouquet pressed to her chest. She looked like she was waiting for someone. Surely, not me. But there were only the two of us there. I nodded to her and walked past. She suddenly stretched out an arm to block my way and pushed the bouquet against my chest. I instinctively caught it, looking at her in confusion. "For you." I was even more puzzled. Our breakup had been far from peaceful, so I never thought there would come a day when Camilla and I could talk properly again. Everything she did today seemed unusual to me, especially the fact that a big star like her would show up at an ordinary person's wedding banquet. That was strange enough. I was just about to refuse. Then Camilla suddenly said, "I thought you'd be the best man today." Aiden and I used to be best friends. If I hadn't been married, I would have been the best man. Camilla continued, "I only came because of you." "Because of me? What?" But before she could finish, another voice cut in. Sean hurried over with a nervous look on his face. When he saw me, he forced a smile. Then he reached out to steady Camilla, who was wobbling a bit. "Camilla, what are you doing here all alone?" "You two talk. I'll get going," I said, seizing the chance to leave. Back at the banquet, a few of the guys were planning to head to Aiden's place later. It'd probably go on until midnight. I texted Aiden to let him know I was heading out, then left the restaurant. When I got home, my father was sitting in the living room, his face still stern. He'd always liked Camilla, hoping we'd end up together. When we broke up, he'd thrown a huge fit. Before I left for the wedding today, He reminded me over and over that if I saw Camilla there, I had to make up with her. So I dropped a bomb on him. I told him that before coming back to the country, I'd already gotten married abroad. The old man had been waiting for me to return ever since, demanding to know who my wife was. I braced myself. "You've met her. My boss, Robin." His eyes widened in disbelief. I knew it. He absolutely despised the entertainment industry. He'd been against me becoming an agent after graduation. Robin worked in entertainment too, and she was an executive. In his eyes, the industry was a cesspool, and everyone in it was tainted, including me, including Robin, but somehow not Camilla, a true double standard. Before he could start yelling, I quickly called Robin and asked her to help me out. Robin laughed softly over the phone, her voice playful and sweet. "Uncle, I'll be back home in a few days." Just a few words from her, and the old man was grinning ear to ear. I took the phone back to my room and asked what she'd said. I told him I was the one who insisted on getting the marriage certificate. I said Augustine is such a great guy, I had to make it official before letting him come home. "What if someone else snatched him up?" she added. "Don't be fooled by how grumpy our dad seems, and he's actually proud of you. Once he saw how much I adore his precious son, of course he forgave me." I couldn't help smiling, warmth spreading through my chest. Before hanging up, Robin whispered, "Augustine, I miss you so much." And I missed her, too. Chapter 04. Early the next morning, my father asked me, since Robin was also coming back to the country, what would happen to our company overseas. I told him that from now on we'd be staying in China. It was actually because our overseas talent agency planned to open a branch here. That's why we came back. After returning, I didn't take any time off. I handled a well-known artist's agency dispute and successfully brought him into our company. Today, I was heading to a filming set to discuss future work plans with one of our artists. But when I arrived, I saw a rather famous traffic actress, one of those popular internet idols, bullying an extra on set. She deliberately bumped into the extra and knocked over their lunchbox, then walked away without even looking back. The extra stopped her, demanding an apology. The actress rolled her eyes arrogantly. "Who saw me bump into you? You extras really think you belong on a set like this? Don't get in the way." I still hadn't kicked my habit of meddling in other people's business. My tone was cool as I said, "I saw it. Please apologize." She glared at me. "And who are you supposed to be?" I told her my name, but she clearly didn't recognize it. She dismissed me as some unimportant staff member, her contempt practically spilling from her eyes. "You said you saw it? I say you're slandering me. Then what now?" "I've got it on camera." A woman's voice came from behind me. I froze for a moment and turned around. It was Camilla. That's when I realized she was the leading actress in this drama. The other actress, who only played the third female lead, didn't dare to offend her and quickly muttered an apology before scurrying off. I looked at Camilla, unsure what to say, but she gave me a small smile. That smile suddenly reminded me of something. Something very similar that had happened before. Chapter 05. Back in her junior year of college, Camilla had already started auditioning across different film crews, landing small extra roles here and there. Once, she was bullied by a big-name celebrity on set. That day, I happened to witness the whole thing. She cried, her face full of helplessness and humiliation. I told her, "Camilla, one day you'll become the best, the most popular actress. You'll win trophies, become a queen of film, and no one will ever bully you again." She looked up at me through her tears and said, "Then you'll be my agent when I become a film queen." Now she really was a film queen. But things, and people, had changed. Camilla asked what I was doing there. I said I came to see someone and told her my artist's name. My artist had gone to touch up his makeup, so Camilla led me to sit down somewhere. She sat right beside me, her gaze burning into me. If it had been the old days, my heart would have been racing under that look, but now I felt only calm. I just didn't understand what she was trying to do. I wasn't blind. I could clearly see the restrained yet turbulent emotion in her eyes. But wasn't she with Sean now? Otherwise, why would she have brought him to the wedding? I coughed awkwardly. "Where's Sean?" she said coldly. "What's he got to do with me?" I froze. "Aren't you two together? Last time you were—" "It's him who keeps clinging to me. We're not—" She suddenly curved her eyes in a teasing smile. "What's wrong? You unhappy about that?" I was so embarrassed I didn't know how to answer. Then she added softly, "I don't like him, and I won't be with him." It sounded almost like an explanation, to me. When she finished, she looked at me expectantly. That just made things even more awkward. Thankfully, my artist came back right then. Only then did Camilla seem to remember and asked, "What did you want with him?" "He's my artist." She looked surprised. "You're still an agent? But these past few years I haven't heard anything about you." "I've been abroad," I said simply. "Then why did you come back now?" As she asked, she stared at me intently, nervous, maybe even a little hopeful. I sighed, my voice soft but steady. "My wife wants to develop her career here, so we came back. I'll get going now. We can talk later." Before I could finish turning away, she suddenly grabbed my hand. Camilla's face turned pale, her dark eyes heavy with disbelief. What did you say? How could you get married? So at Aiden's wedding, everything you said was—" I nodded. All true. I didn't bother figuring out why she looked so devastated. I touched the wedding ring on my finger and told her seriously, "Camilla, I'm married. My wife's name is Robin." Camilla suddenly burst into tears. Not the kind for show, but the kind filled with real pain. She covered her eyes, her voice trembling through her sobs. "Augustine, you're joking, right? You used to love me so much. You would have done anything for me. I've been waiting for you all this time. These 3 years I've been looking for you. I thought our separation was just temporary, that when we met again we'd be together. I know I was wrong about the past. I really do." Chapter 06. Back then, Camilla and I had almost made it to marriage. After college, her acting career wasn't going anywhere. I, on the other hand, had stepped into the entertainment industry as an agent and managed to help a few rising stars gain some fame. Camilla and I had already met each other's parents and even gotten engaged. After that, we started discussing the wedding date, the venue, the guest list. Everything was moving forward step by step, but right before the wedding, Camilla's mother suddenly changed her mind. The bride price we had agreed on, 280,000 yuan, was suddenly raised to 660,000. There was a gap of 380,000. It wasn't that I wasn't heartbroken or angry. I was. But Camilla cried in front of me until she was out of breath and I couldn't bear it. I wanted a future with her. Luckily, I had some savings then, and I borrowed the rest, scraping together the full 660,000 yuan. But just as I was about to give the money to them, my mother got into a car accident. She was in critical condition, waiting for money to save her life, so I took the bride price back, looking like a complete joke. That day, Camilla was furious. She threw the bank card at my face and shouted, "Couldn't your mother wait one more day? This is our future you're giving up. Do you know my mom is already finding me another fiancé? We've made it through 4 years together and we're just one step away. If you give her the money, my mom will finally agree to us. Why are you giving up now, Augustine? I hate you." I took the money and rushed to the hospital, but my mother's injuries were too severe. She didn't make it. I lost my mother, and I lost Camilla. After the funeral, I tried to get her back. I didn't blame her. I knew what she'd said that day was just anger born out of fear. Fear that we wouldn't have a future. But this time, nothing I said could reach her. She held Sean's hand and said coldly, "My mom was right. You're just a broke nobody. What happiness could I possibly have with you? Sean loves me, and he's rich. Why should I choose you instead of him?" At that moment, I was completely lost. After my mother's funeral, it felt like half my soul had been drained away. Her words left me numb and hollow, like a pile of ashes. She ignored my pain and compared me to another man, right in front of me, and suddenly I realized her mother was right. She did deserve someone better, and me, I'd only ever bring her suffering. So I let her go. That was the end of us. But Sean didn't stop there. He used his family's power to blacklist me in the industry. I couldn't find work, and debt kept piling up. At my lowest point, after being kicked out by yet another company, I sat on the ground, unable to get back up. That's when Robin appeared in my life. She squatted down in front of me, snatched my resume from my hands, and said, "Damn, you made a classmate famous back in sophomore year with your insane marketing strategy. You're a genius." I looked up at her. Robin rubbed her chin, clearly plotting something. "You want to get rich? You want to make it to the top? Then come with me." And just like that, she tricked me into going abroad, and I became an agent at her company. Chapter 07. Robin treated me really well. When I went abroad, I had accidentally brought along all of my mother's hospital reports and medical receipts. Robin saw them and thought they were mine. At that time, I was emaciated, hollow-eyed, and lifeless. I had left the country without the slightest attachment or hesitation. She believed I was a dying man, so she treated me with endless gentleness and patience. I remember that period clearly, the way she always looked at me with pity and tenderness. How she never gave me too much work, yet still doubled my salary. Thinking of that now, I couldn't help but feel a faint warmth spread through my chest. "My wife," I said softly, "is a truly good person." Camilla covered her eyes, tears streaming down her face. "So, we really don't have a second chance? When we broke up, I didn't mean the things I said. I was just so angry. Angry that you gave up on our future. Later I went looking for you, but your father didn't know where you'd gone." I didn't answer her. At that moment, my phone rang. I picked up and spoke in a low voice. "Robin." Her bright, playful voice came through the receiver. "Where are you?" "Why do you want to know?" She made a small huff. "Can I ask?" I could hear the barely contained excitement in her tone and immediately knew she was up to something. I told her where I was. She let out a cheerful, "Oh," then laughed as she asked before hanging up, "You'll stay there for a bit, right?" That confirmed it. She was back. She wanted to surprise me but could never quite hide it. After hanging up, I looked back at Camilla, who was still staring at me in anguish. And in her eyes, I saw the reflection of myself, smiling, gentle, full of affection. For a moment, I froze, then said quietly, "Camilla, start over, but don't look back." Her voice trembled as she replied, "I can't." Chapter 08. Since I knew Robin was coming, I didn't hurry to leave. I went to the restroom, and when I came out into the hallway, a shadow suddenly rushed toward me around the corner. Before I could react, she had already thrown herself into my arms. She kissed me all over my face and laughed. Surprised? Didn't see that coming, huh? Back at the overseas agency, both the talent management department and the PR and strategy department were under her command. Now that we'd set up a branch in China, she'd been promoted directly to CEO. She was the definition of a strong, capable woman, yet in front of me, she always acted like a mischievous little girl. I couldn't help but chuckle, nodding as I replied, "Very surprised. Totally unexpected." "Then kiss me." Robin wrapped her arms around my neck and kissed me again. But just then, a voice broke the moment. Robin turned, still holding on to me. Camilla stood a few steps away, a cup of coffee in hand. Robin froze for a second, then smiled politely. "What a coincidence, Miss Camilla." I was taken aback. They knew each other. Camilla's expression was icy as ever. Then her gaze dropped to the lipstick marks on my face. Robin immediately picked up on the tension in the air. I leaned close and whispered, "She's the ex." Robin knew everything about my past. Her friendly expression instantly vanished. She rolled her eyes dramatically and muttered, "So that's the famous film queen. When did she go blind?" She was on my list to recruit for our company, but forget it. Camilla's contract with her current agency was about to expire. Robin had been eyeing her for a while, planning to bring her over to our company. But the moment she learned Camilla was my ex, she dropped the idea immediately. I took Robin back to our new home. As we left, I could still feel Camilla's gaze lingering on my back. A few days later, I got a call from an unfamiliar but vaguely familiar number. Without thinking, I answered, only to realize too late that it was Camilla's. There was background noise on her end like a crowd. Her voice was soft. "Augustine, I'm filming a variety show. It's live." I paused, replying politely, "Oh, so what is it you need?" There was a long silence. Then the background noise gradually quieted down, as if the whole audience knew she was about to say something important. After a moment, applause erupted, loud and encouraging. The host's voice followed. "Let's give Camilla some courage, everyone." I had no idea what she was about to say. Finally, Camilla spoke. "Did you forget? Today's my birthday?" I glanced at the calendar. She was right. Once upon a time, I would have been counting down to this day a month in advance. But somewhere along the way, this day had become no different from the other 364. I said flatly, "Happy birthday." Her voice trembled. She was crying. "Augustine, it's been years since anyone spent my birthday with me. Could I be selfish just once and ask you for a birthday gift?" I didn't answer for a long time. All I could think was that Camilla had lost her sense of boundaries. She'd been in showbiz long enough to know better. I hung up the call. Later, I remembered seeing in our old classmates' group chat that the year we broke up, Camilla had cut ties with her family. That's why no one celebrated her birthday with her anymore. But that no longer had anything to do with me. Chapter 10. When I turned back, Robin was sitting with the old man playing cards. The simplest game of pickup sticks. The two of them were laughing and bickering like children. Each had little paper notes stuck all over their faces. The old man lectured as he played. "I just don't like you kids in the entertainment industry, always up to shady stuff." I glanced nervously at Robin. She nodded eagerly. "You're absolutely right. This circle is a mess. There are so many things I can't stand either. But what can you do? We have to bow our heads just to survive." The old man was at a loss for words. He had been planning to talk Robin out of the industry, but instead, his heart softened. "You young people really have it hard," he said, sounding almost sorry for her. I couldn't help but laugh quietly to myself. Robin had that kind of magic. Back then, when she believed I was terminally ill, I'd once asked for 3 days off to travel. She had stormed into my apartment in a panic, finding me packing my bags. Seeing my suitcase made her think the sky had fallen. She was convinced I was arranging my affairs before dying. She cried her heart out, clutching me, saying she loved me. She said, "Even if you only have 1 day left to live, I want to love you 1 more day. Please don't leave quietly all by yourself. That's too lonely. If there really isn't a cure, let me stay with you to the end, okay? My biggest dream was to have a boyfriend like you. If you don't say yes, even after 100 years, I'll die with regrets." I thought then, this girl is so adorable. Smiling, I accepted her confession. After that, I realized that even the deepest scars can heal and weather away with time. Robin was nothing like Camilla. Her love was always bold and direct, passionate and unrestrained. Every day she would say, "Today is another day I love you even more." She praised my ability, telling me how the artists under me were rebellious, but still listened to me. She showed openly how much she needed me, affirmed my efforts, and admired my talents. Before I returned to the country, it was she who proposed to me. She said marrying me was something she'd wanted to do for a long time. At that time, I thought you were dying. And my first thought was, if I marry you, when I die someday, we can be buried together. Her love had always been barefaced and sincere. Chapter 11. After Camilla called me, the entire internet started searching for the name Augustine Jin. That's when I realized her call hadn't been about asking for a birthday gift at all. The theme of that live broadcast was, call the person you still can't forget deep in your heart. Luckily, this was my line of work. Within hours, I had the rumors cleaned up and the situation handled through PR. In the entertainment industry, public attention fades as quickly as it comes. Soon, all the discussion shifted, this time to Camilla and Sean, the film queen and the film emperor appearing together on a second-rate romance reality show. During their trip, they kept showing affection, feeding the public with endless sweet moments. Every gesture, every word, every shared glance, all of it climbed the trending charts. I studied these things daily. It was impossible not to see them, and at first I didn't care. But one day, when I went to a club to pick up one of my artists, Sean was standing in the hallway smoking, blocking my way. He looked at me coldly. We need to talk. There were plenty of important people around, but I wasn't the same Augustine who'd been blacklisted and forced overseas years ago. If you've got something to say, I said flatly, say it here. Sean was drunk, clearly past caring about appearances. Do you even know? All this time, everything between Camilla and me on camera, it's all fake. The media calls us the sweetest couple. Bullshit. It's all an act. For you. She wanted to make you jealous. The wooden puppet we carved together. She wrote your name on the back. When we visited our old university, the place she stayed the longest was where you two used to go on dates. When she gets drunk and leans on my shoulder, the name she whispers is yours. Augustine. Why the hell did you come back? So that's what it was. All that show of affection, just to get a reaction out of me. Camilla's old trick. When we were dating, whenever we fought, she'd always act overly close to some male friend. She thought seeing me jealous meant I still cared. And when I finally coaxed her, she'd feel satisfied. Maybe she thought this time would be the same, that I'd come running back like before. But I wasn't that man anymore. I couldn't help but think of Robin. Robin would never do something like that. She once said to me, no matter what excuse people use, I'll never do anything that could make you sad. I looked at Sean's drunken, furious face with cool detachment. Whatever's going on between you two, I said, my voice low and calm, has nothing to do with me. Then I added icily, you keep acting crazy in front of me like this. Do you still want to have a career? Chapter 12. I was no longer the same Augustine as before. Starlight Entertainment was now the largest talent agency in the country, monopolizing 2/3 of the industry's resources. If I wanted to blacklist Sean, all it would take was one word. Sean had sobered up by then. He glared at me, but didn't dare say another word. After that night, I never again saw any gossip or posts about him and Camilla showing affection. But it wasn't long before news broke that the two had fallen out. Rumor had it Camilla had used every connection and bit of influence she had to crush Sean's career. That same night, she showed up at my place, completely drunk. She crouched on the floor, clutching the hem of my shirt. I'm sorry. I couldn't even remember how many times she said those words. I really didn't know about your mother, she sobbed. 3 years ago, before you came looking for me, Sean told me your mother's car accident wasn't serious at all, that your family just didn't approve of mine, and you were using that as an excuse to call off the engagement. You know how proud I am. I've always felt insecure about where I come from, so I was furious. I thought you'd betrayed me, that you said all those things just to push me away. But Sean lied to me. He lied to me. Her tears fell hard, one after another. I was stunned. So there had been more to it. I pulled her up from the ground. She looked at me with desperate eyes. "Augustine, please, forgive me." "I forgive you," I said quietly. "But that's as far as it goes. Even without Sean, we would have broken up eventually, because you never really trusted me. I remember telling you before we were supposed to get married, if I like someone, if I want to be with her, I'm not afraid of anything." Camilla's face turned pale, her hands trembling as she clutched my shirt. "But back then," I continued, "you chose to believe Sean's words. Even if you had just tried, just once, to believe in me, to ask me what really happened." Chapter 13. When I walked into the house, Robin was sitting on the sofa, one leg crossed over the other, rolling her eyes. Well, if I like someone, if I want to be with her, I'm not afraid of anything," she said, mimicking my tone. I rubbed my temples. Clearly, she was jealous. I walked over, lifted her into my arms, and carried her toward the bedroom. Then I kissed her softly. "That sentence still stands," I whispered. "If I like someone, if I want to be with her, I'm not afraid of anything." Under my gaze, Robin's cheeks flushed red. She wrapped her arms around my neck and kissed me back, fiercely. Chapter 14. It was a rare holiday, and at Aiden's invitation, I went to his house, only to find several other old classmates there as well. Aiden had always been well-liked. He never lacked company. When I felt all their curious gazes on me, part of me wanted to turn around and leave. But no one said anything to my face. Still, I overheard them whispering out on the balcony. "Can't believe it. Turns out the simp is actually Camilla." I always thought Augustine was the one who couldn't let go of her. Honestly, I saw it coming. At Guo Zi's wedding, Camilla's eyes were glued to Augustine the whole time, and he didn't even look at her once. Yeah, say what you will. Augustine really missed out. If he were still with Camilla now, he'd be living like a king. I pretended I hadn't heard a thing and went back to the living room. Soon, Aiden asked, "So where are you working these days?" "Starlight Entertainment, still an agent," one classmate said excitedly. "That must mean you hear all the juicy gossip every day, huh? What do you guys even do all day? Can you meet movie stars whenever you want?" Before long, someone suggested half-jokingly that I should take them to visit my company. I could have refused anyone else. But not Aiden. Guo Ji added earnestly, "We won't bother anyone. We just want to see where you work." So I agreed. When we arrived at the company, everyone's jaws practically hit the floor. The walls were covered with posters and photos of our artists, many of them international stars, including several who had appeared in major Hollywood films. "Holy crap! Cleon's one of your company's artists. That means you've actually met him." "Don't tell us you used to manage those people when you were abroad, Augustine. You've been hiding your power, man. You're a total boss." I just smiled modestly, and then spotted a very familiar figure walking toward us. The moment he saw me, he tried to slip away. I called out sharply, stopping him in his tracks. My tone was calm but carried authority, enough to intimidate. But behind me, Aiden grabbed my arm, eyes wide. "Wait, isn't that Oscar? The most popular actor right now?" "It is him," someone else whispered. Oscar stopped in front of me and muttered respectfully, "Boss." I plucked a bag of chips out of his hand. "Planning to go on stage for the show on the 8th? You still want to fit in your costume?" I poked his stomach. "Cut the belly fat. I have abs," he protested. "Yeah, and they're vanishing fast," I replied dryly. Oscar fell silent. Since we were already at the company, I figured I might as well let Aiden meet Robin. But when I opened the door to Robin's office, well, there she was, Camilla. Aiden and the others instantly sensed they shouldn't be there. They said quick goodbyes and left. I frowned, looking between the two women, then finally turned to Robin with a questioning expression. Robin leaned back in her chair, tapping the folder in her hand. "The film queen is here to sign with us. From now on, she's one of our artists." I was speechless. Chapter 15. When Camilla was leaving, I offered to walk her out. I hesitated for a long time, not sure how to start. The contract was already signed, but if she wanted to back out, it wouldn't be difficult. I still had some say in the matter. Mostly, though, I was worried about Robin getting jealous. She wasn't exactly broad-minded when it came to things like this. When we were abroad, she'd once gotten jealous over a baseless rumor and spoke to me in a frosty, sarcastic tone for a whole week. Just thinking about it now still makes my scalp tingle. As we stepped out of the elevator, Camilla turned back to me with a faint smile. "What are you thinking about?" I finally spoke. "Out of all the talent agencies, why choose Starlight Entertainment? If you signed just because of me, then..." Even if it made me sound self-absorbed, I had to ask. "It's not that," she said evenly. "Starlight Entertainment is the biggest agency in the country with access to tons of overseas film resources. I want to break into Hollywood. Signing with Starlight is the best choice." I fell silent. If that was her reason, I could accept it. Camilla seemed to read what was on my mind, a hint of sorrow flickering in her eyes. "Do you really hate seeing me that much?" I replied quietly. "It's not that. I just don't think it's necessary. I don't want my wife to feel uncomfortable." Camilla suddenly turned her head away. I heard a soft, muffled sound, maybe a suppressed sob, before she calmed down and said, "I wanted to do this with dignity. But I admit it. Most of the reason I signed with Starlight was because of you. But I won't bother you anymore. Robin was right. I don't deserve you. I just wanted that when it becomes too hard to bear, I could still see you once in a while. That's my only small wish." When I returned to the office, Robin was clearly waiting for me. She leaned into me the moment I came close, and I wrapped my arms around her. We settled together on the big couch. I stroked her hair gently. "You signed her into our company. Not jealous?" Robin rested her head on my chest, her tone light. "Of course I'm jealous. But I'm also a businesswoman. Camilla will bring in enormous profit." I laughed softly, then asked, "So what did you say to her?" "She told me she wouldn't cause me any more trouble." Robin paused for a moment, then admitted, "I told her she doesn't deserve you. You're the best man in the world, Augustine." I couldn't help but laugh. "Maybe that's just your bias. Love makes people see perfection." "It's not that," Robin said firmly. She began to list them one by one. "When you first met Camilla, you helped her. That was your courage. Later, when you became friends, you gave her confidence. That was your kindness and warmth. When her family disapproved, you never blamed her once. Her mother wanted her to marry a rich man, so you worked yourself to the bone to earn more. You were already interning as an agent in your junior year, drinking at social events to get your artists' opportunities, drinking until your stomach hurt. Augustine, you really are a good man, gentle, brave, kind, responsible. In your love story, Camilla only reached out her hand once, and you walked 100 steps toward her without hesitation. But she hurt you. So no, she truly doesn't deserve you." As I listened, my eyes grew hot. I held Robin tightly in my arms. Later, when both Robin and I finally had time, we held our wedding. Everyone who came was from the entertainment industry: film emperors, film queens, famous hosts, rising young idols, and every single red envelope they gave was stuffed with money. That night, we sat together on the big red wedding bed. Robin counted the stack of envelopes, then shoved them all into my hands. Along with them came her bank card and her credit card. I froze. "You're giving all this to me?" Robin scratched her head with an innocent look. "Well, what else then? I don't want to be the housekeeper lady, so you'll have to be the housekeeper guy." Looking at all that money, my mind flashed back to years ago, to when Camilla's mother suddenly changed the bride price, demanding an extra 380,000 yuan. That number had felt like a thunderbolt crashing down on my skull. I'd called every friend and relative I could, humbling myself over and over just to scrape together enough. When I lifted my head from those memories, Robin was already admiring the wedding gifts. I couldn't help thinking, if Robin and I had faced that kind of situation 3 years ago, she probably would have said, "Augustine, let's just elope." She'd actually said that once before, during one of her busiest, most exhausting work periods, half joking, half serious. As I was lost in thought, Robin called out, "Hey, there's a wedding gift here for you." Curious, I went over and saw a golden trophy sitting in the gift box. It was from Camilla, her first Best Actress award. Robin was a little jealous. Her lips curved into a small pout. "I suppose this has something to do with one of your old promises, huh?" There had been a promise, but it didn't matter anymore. I wrapped my arms around Robin from behind, kissing her shoulder softly. "Stop looking at the gifts," I murmured. "It's time we did something proper, my wife."